I'm pretty sure that this is not supposed to happen. What is going on, YouTube? This is TriStar Volunteer and I'm back with another video, and today I want to show you what happened to my very cheap budget Shakespeare rod that I picked up from Walmart. If you're new here and not already subscribed, please hit that red subscribe button down there. That way I know you're watching and you want to see more content like this. I'm going to try to give you more reviews and more product reviews. So if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button, and then let's get on to talking about this rod. Basically everything was working good, and I was fishing with it, and I probably had it for about 2 months, and I looked down to check on it and the tip is broken off and it is hanging. Let me go ahead and just be clear with this. This is a very, very budget friendly rod that I picked up from Walmart. Just walking through, I was like, I need another rod so I can tell you when we don't have to switch lures out in the same rod every time. And I also wanted a light instead of an ultra light. So I picked this one up. So it was very cheap. I think I got this thing for like 16 bucks. Normal price they might be like 19, but normally I think you can pick them up for like $16 in Walmart. And for 16 bucks, the thing worked pretty good. One thing I did not know is this is a 2-piece rod, and I had no clue that it was a 2-piece rod when I bought it. I just grabbed it and left with it, and actually it's in, I think, the first video I made, which isn't a very good video, but the first one I made is actually the time when I figured out it was a 2-piece rod, because I was fishing with it and all of a sudden I noticed that it wasn't casting well or anything, and then this was like turned like this. So that's how I found out it was a 2-piece, and I really wanted a 1-piece rod. With that said, the rod actually wasn't that bad for the price you pay for it, for a very budget rod. And to go to the river, throwing off banks, I was always getting tangled up. I was afraid that I was going to break it anyway, but I've had another one for about 4 years, an ultralight rod, and it hasn't broken, and I've stepped on it and everything. So that was kind of weird. Basically everything was going fine, and like I said, I was fishing with it, and I did just this weekend, I actually caught a fish with it. It was actually just a bluegill, but I'll try to get that video up, maybe right here if I can. And everything was working fine, and then I don't really know what happened. Then I checked it. I don't know if a little bit of pressure got put on it or what, but in my truck I looked at it. This was actually earlier today when I was going to go fishing, and I noticed it was hanging down like this, and I hadn't stepped on it, I hadn't hit it against anything, but the only thing I can think is maybe I don't know, maybe it got a little bit too much pressure on it, the string on the line, maybe it pulled it and snapped it, but basically it's just like clean snapped through right in the middle. And honestly, by looking at it, I don't know if you can see this or not, I mean it's a $15 rod, guys. This wasn't like a $200 rod or $150 rod for what I was using it for. I just needed another one so that I'd have another one to throw and I could carry 2 rods with me instead of just carrying one. It just makes it a lot easier when you're doing that. So yeah, it broke, so I thought I would show you this, and I probably only had this thing for 2 months. That's the only thing that worries me, maybe 2 months, and it had already broke. That has to be a weak spot on them. But other than that, it was all right. For the way I use this to fish, basically in rivers with typically there's current, I don't notice a big difference between it and a single piece. Maybe a little bit of sensitivity from where this is gonna go together. You might lose a little bit, especially on these cheap rods. Now, if it was a bass rod and I was trying to fill the bottom, I was trying to pull it over rocks and fill what was down there and all that, I would say yes, you'd probably notice the difference in a 1 and 2 piece if you went with a very cheap one. You know, I probably wouldn't get a super cheap bass rod like this, but you know what, for what I used it for, it worked all right. If it would have lasted a little longer than 2 months. But yeah, basically just snapped straight off the end. But one thing I do know with the 2-piece, if you'll watch, if you can see it, when it bends, you'll get your flex up here in the front. And right there in the middle, there's that straight piece, and then just right there where that goes together, and then you can see it's flexing a little bit in the back. So even if you move it closer together, that's not going to flex right there. I know that kills some of your sensitivity. That probably makes your rod a little, I mean, it has to make your rod a little bit stiffer as well. But you know what, if you needed to, which I never did because my truck, you can take it apart, throw it in your back seat if you're traveling with it. So a 2-piece rod for that would be good. But if you are going with a 2-piece rod, I would recommend that I would not get a super cheap one. And again, this is a Shakespeare Micro Series graphite, and this is a 5'6" light. It says to run 4 to 8 pound line on it. Usually I'm running 6 pound fluorocarbon, 6 pound fluorocarbon on this. And I had planned on, this is a very old reel, so when I was going through Walmart, I just picked up a rod and I needed something to put this old reel on just for the time being. And so I, you know, it was cheap, looked all right, and I picked it up. But yeah, I kind of thought that it would last longer than 2 months. And it was a kind of a weird spot to break off, considering I didn't really hit it on anything. I really don't know why it broke right there. You know, like I said, I've had other ones that nowhere near as this, and I've put them through a lot more, and they didn't break off at all. So, but yeah, so you know what? Let's see if you can see this. Scoot this back. Let me scoot the little Tykes table back. Hopefully this didn't hit me in the face. I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna see if this has a weak point or if I can break it or anything. So this might go bad. This might flop and hit me in the face. So, but it's already broken, so we might as well see what it. Might as well see where else it might be weak at. So let me get at the very end. And honestly, man, that flex on that thing is. I mean, that's a $14 rod. I guess that's what I don't understand, why this broke off. Something doesn't make sense, because even that is still even flexing a little bit and going back to normal. Okay, that broke off right there. But you saw what it take to break it off at the very end. And I mean, hopefully you can see this. So right there is that straight part I was talking about. But I'm putting some, that's what it took to break it right there. So that's gonna be your difference. I've had other rods that you can bend like that. This is just a cheaper graphite. But guys, I will say, for a $15 rod, or if you were in a pinch or just needed something cheap that you wanted to get just to take fishing, kind of like I did with this one, yeah, you can't beat it for 15 bucks, but you're gonna be replacing it a lot more. Now, with that said, I've already ordered a replacement for it. I'm gonna put up another video and I'm gonna review it when it comes in, talk about it, and I'm gonna kind of take it out and review it and fish with it a little bit. So when it comes in, be sure to check back in, because hopefully we can get a pretty good review going with my new rod and reel. Obviously, I already know what it is and everything, but we'll just wait till it comes in. It should be in a day or two, and then I'll go straight down to the river and fish with it. So with that said, guys, I just wanted to give you a quick little update. And again, this is a Shakespeare Micro Series light action 5'6" 2-piece. And on all my other videos, most of the fish I'm catching on there with trout, I'm either fishing with this or I'm fishing with my ultralight fluger. I mean, this one did all right. You know, it is what it is. It's a cheap rod. So with that said, I'm gonna wrap this up. Please hit that like button down here at the bottom. Hit that subscribe in the top corner. Be sure to check back in whenever I review the new rod and reel that comes in. That video should come up in about a week. Thank you so much for watching, YouTube, and I will see you later.